Today we're looking at the chain rule and the product and the chain rule. Okay, so here's the composition of functions, and we're going to look how to find the derivative. So what we have to do is we're going to find f prime of x, the derivative for all of these. Okay, so let's look at the chain rule first. Okay, so the chain rule is and I'm gonna use another notation here. Let's call this h of x. A function is the composition of functions of two other functions. So the chain rule is found by taking h prime of x equals f prime of g of x times g prime of x. Okay. The product rule, so this is the chain rule. I'm gonna write chain rule here. Okay, the product rule, I'm gonna use h of x again equals f of x times g of x. So two functions together. The derivative of h prime of x equals to the first times the derivative of the second plus the derivative of the first times the second. Okay, this is the product rule. Okay, and what we're gonna do is we're gonna use a chain rule for the first two, and we're gonna use the product rule and the chain rule for the third one. Okay, so I'm gonna move this paper up here. Okay, move it up, move it up, move it up. And let's look at number one. Number one, f of x equals to, it's a composition of functions, 3x minus 1 raised to the third power. Okay, remember I said find the derivative f prime of x. We use the power rule, 4 times 3 times the quantity 3x minus 1. 3 minus 1 is 2 here, that's the power rule, times the inside derivative, this is g prime of x in your formula there. So this is the derivative of 3x minus 1 is just 3. And we simplify. Okay, so the 3 times 3, 9 times 4, 36. 3x minus, times the quantity 3x minus 1 squared. And we'll leave our answer in that form. Okay, it's easier to do than if we were to take the product of binomial and multiply it by binomial again, multiply it by 4. This is much easier to do. The next one, f of x equals 1/2 4x minus 3 raised to the fourth power. I'm gonna apply the power rule and the chain rule. So the derivative of the derivative of the function f prime of x equals to 4 times 1/2, 4 times the quantity 4x minus 3 raised to the third power, 4 minus 1, okay, is 3, times the inside derivative, that's the g prime of x. It's just 4 here. Okay, so this is just 2. 2 times 4 is 8, times the quantity 4x minus 3 raised to the third power. Okay, so what you have here is I applied the power rule, then the chain rule. Okay, and the third one, we're going to combine the power rule, chain rule, product rule. Okay, so I'm going to lift this up this way, this way, this way. And we have f of x equals quantity 4x plus 3 squared times the quantity 2x minus 1. Okay, so we're going to use and I'm going to use another notation here. So let me refresh you on the product rule. If you're given two functions, you multiply it together, take the derivative, h prime of x. The first times the derivative of the second plus the derivative of the first times the second. That's all we're going to do here. So I'm going to move this up. And then we multiply, then we take the derivative. Okay, so the first 4x plus 3 squared times the derivative of the second, 2, plus the derivative of the first, 2, 4x plus 3. I just use the power rule. This is 1 right here, to show you don't have to put the 1, times the inside derivative, which is 4. Okay, so the first times the derivative of the second, plus the derivative of the first times the second, 2x minus 1. And we can simplify if we want, but don't usually simplify here. You can do it. Let me just clean this up a little bit. This is 8, 4x plus 3, 2x minus 1. And you can leave it in that form. Okay, so what we talked about today is where there's a power rule, the product rule, and the chain rule.